What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 97 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast on this Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. I'm your host, Zach Malamo. Before we get started, please subscribe below. Follow all of my social accounts. Let's start things off in the world of baseball, as both New York teams were in action this weekend. And we'll start things with the New York Yankees as they went down to Miami for a three-game set against the Miami Marlins. And this one had an argument for worst series of the year for the Yankees as they are swept 3-0 to the Marlins for the first time in franchise history. A real gut punch for the Yankees, and it all started on Friday where they had a lead late in this game. They ended up leading 9-4 after Trent Grisham hit a 3-run bomb in the 7th. So they have a 9-4 cushion, and they gave it all away. It started with Jake Bird coming in, the new guy from Colorado, and that was really the story of this game. The new guys come in and completely blow it up. It all started with Jake Bird. Like I said, he gives up a grand slam to Kyle Stowers, and that makes it 9-8 Yankees. David Bednar comes in to clean up shop, and he gives up a solo bomb to Sanoa. And then you have the Yankees trailing in this game, and Volpe really had a solid game in the end, minus the error that he had earlier in the game. But it came down to Anthony Volpe hitting the solo bomb in the 8th to tie the game at 10, and then Volpe ended up giving the Yankees some insurance in the 9th after McMahon hit an RBI single. Volpe hits an RBI double, and it's 12-10 Yankees. And what could go wrong here in the bottom of the 9th inning? The new guys as well come in. Camilo Doval on the mound, the closer that the Yankees acquired from the San Francisco Giants. They also have Jose Caballero in right field to play defense, who they acquired at the deadline from the Tampa Bay Rays. And both of those guys completely just blew this game up, and it really did come down to Jose Caballero more than Doval on the mound. But Doval gets credited with the loss as he pitches just a third of an inning and gives up 2 hits with 1 earned run and 1 walk. No strikeouts in this game on 20 pitches. And Doval gets the loss, and Caballero ends up getting charged with the error. Just flashbacks of Trent Grisham in the wild card game of 2019 in his rookie season with the Brewers. Just a similar type of play, just confusion, and could not really concentrate on it, and lets the ball go under his glove, and Miami ends up tying it. And then, of course, Agustin Ramirez hits the grounder fielder's choice to the catcher and ends up getting the run in. A just horrible loss for the Yankees. And you really can't put it into words how bad that was. Bad of a finish in the end, and the Yankees just can't close it out. So they end up losing Friday, but then they go into the rest of the series against the Marlins, and it was a chance to bounce back on Saturday, and the Yankees just were asleep during the game. They come out, and their lineup is nowhere to be found. They don't get a run in this game and only have 2 hits. Yuri Perez was really strong, but, I mean, the Yankees had no clue what they were doing at the plate in this game. And just the 2 hits, like I said, Marlins were not much better on the offensive end. They only have 2 runs up on the board on 4 hits. But Agustin Ramirez, the hero from the night before, he hits 2 solo bombs, and that's the difference in the game. Give credit to Cam Schlittler for the Yankees. Started this game, pitched 5 innings, only the 2 earned runs, 4 hits with 6 strikeouts in this game. That's a solid outing from your starter, and the Yankee lineup just did not step up for him, and they end up losing 2-0 on Saturday. And then Sunday, I think this series was all but over, and yeah, you could blame the lineup, but this one came down to the pitching in the end, and the Yankees end up losing with Luis Gil making his first start of the season. Falls to 0-1. He pitched 3 1/3. 5 hits allowed, 5 earned runs with 4 walks and 3 Ks. Just the command was all over the place for Gil in his first start back. And the Yankees lose 7-3 on Sunday. They fall to 60-52 on the season. And they have to press the reset button as they go down to Texas for a 3-game set against the Texas Rangers. And when you think it couldn't get any worse for the Yankees, they completely blow the game away on Monday as well, and it's an 8-5 Yankees loss at the hands of the Texas Rangers in 10 innings. But the Yankees once again had a lead in this game. 5-4, they led it after Giancarlo Stanton hit a 2-run bomb to center field in the top of the fourth. Lineup didn't do much after that, but the pitching, they were relying on them to get them over the line. And once again, the bullpen gives it away. The Yankees had good contributions from their bullpen in this game. Luke Weaver pitched an inning. Duvall pitched an inning. Bednar pitched an inning. And it came down to Devin Williams in the ninth. And he serves up a meatball to Jock Peterson, who sends it straight to right field. And in the bottom of the ninth, the Yankees give the game away. Williams blows yet another save, and he does it against the guy in Jock Peterson, who's having one of the worst years at the plate in his career, batting just 132 this season. And Williams ends up giving it to him. The number 9 hitter in the lineup gets past Williams, and the Yankees end up giving the game away. It's tied at 5 now, but then you head into the 10th inning, and this is where I have a problem with manager Aaron Boone. I have really stood by Aaron Boone for most of his decisions because I think it just comes down to Brian Cashman and his analytics, and those decisions really come down to him. But really, when Boone looks at these kind of analytics, and when you're looking at a guy in Jake Bird who just came in for the Yankees at the trade deadline, that's a guy that they see the strikeout stuff, they see the potential that he has. That is not a player that is built for the high leverage moments right now for this Yankees team that is sputtering out of control, now on a 4-game losing streak. They cannot be relying on Jake Bird, who comes in from the Colorado Rockies. And Jake Bird, who on the road this year was pitching a 7.40 ERA before he got to the Yankees on the road this year. I think when you look at the home versus road splits, yeah, they're pretty big. And obviously Jake Bird has done well at home, especially at Coors Field, where he was really playing well, a 2.48 ERA, but a 7.40 ERA on the road this year for Jake Bird. How in the world is he pitching the 10th inning with the game on the line, with this team sputtering out of control? It just does not make any sense to me. And Jake Bird ends up getting credited with the loss in this one, and the Yankees give the game away once again, a 8-5 loss to the Texas Rangers. And now you have to move on and really press the reset button again, a game that you completely blew, and they have to do it once again tonight. Will Warren takes the mound for the Yankees. He's 6-5 this year with a 4.64 ERA on the season, and he's going up against Nathan Eovaldi, who's been electric for Texas since coming back from injury. I mean, just great stuff from him. 9-3 this year, 1.49 ERA with a .89 whip. Just great stuff by Eovaldi. In his later years as an MLB pitcher, he's still looking really, really strong right now at the age of 35. But when you look at this Yankees team, they have to step up big time. It all comes down to their lineup stepping up, besides their bullpen just not giving the game away at this point. That's what it's been lately, and the Yankees need to press the reset button on that. That's a great way to do so. What the Yankees did earlier today as they reinstate Mark Leiter Jr. From his rehab assignment, reinstate him from the 15-day IL, but they also reinstate the captain, outfielder Aaron Judge, from the 10-day injured list, and he's going to be the DH tonight as the Yankees take on Nathan Eovaldi and the Texas Rangers. Hopefully Judge can come back and do his thing, but even Aaron Judge and what he's been doing this year cannot solve the Yankees' problems right now. They are just so lost everywhere on the field, fielding, hitting, pitching. I mean, it's a disaster right now, and I think it just comes down to Aaron Boone and whether he gets fired or not from this, and really whether he's on the hot seat or not from this. I think we can let the days tell, but when you look at this Yankees team right now, sputtering out of control on that 4-game losing streak, and really no answers to how bad they're playing right now, and really a lot of question marks heading into tonight and tomorrow. But Will Warren takes them out against Nathan Eovaldi down in Texas. Let's move things to the other side of New York, and it's the New York Mets who are in action, and they were in action this weekend as well. They took on the San Francisco Giants for the second time in a week. This time, it was a 3-game set at Citi Field in Queens, and a bad series for the Mets in the end, as they had just one good game in that one on Saturday, but it all started bad on Friday. Well, they had the opportunities, just could not get the job done. And it's the pinch hitter in Dom Smith who delivers in the 10th inning as the Mets end up tying it in the 8th inning with Juan Soto hitting an RBI single. And then it was Pete Alonso who hit a sac fly, ties the game in the bottom of the 8th. But Mets couldn't capitalize on anything in the 9th as well. And the Mets lose it in 10 innings on Dom Smith, a former Met, of course, his RBI single in the 10th inning. So the Mets end up losing Friday, but you're looking at 4 straight losses and saying, all right, well, you got to bounce back. The lineup's got to be better, and that's really the big thing. And, I mean, the lineup answered the call. They were great on Saturday. They end up putting up 12 runs on 13 hits and just an offensive outburst by the New York Mets. All started in the 1st inning with Pete Alonso hitting a 3-run bomb, his 250th career home run. And what a way to get the party started. And they really just did not look back from there. The Mets didn't. And they end up having a big 7th inning where they end up putting up 4 runs. And that really, the game was all but over at that point. 12-6, it finishes. Reed Garrett ends up getting credited with the win. But a 12-6 victory for the Mets on 13 hits, like I said, I think that's a real positive sign for this Mets lineup. But then you're looking at Sunday saying, all right, keep it going, capitalize on it. And they just did not do that. I think the lineup really showed up a little later in this game. They did have 8 hits, but this one was over early. And Frankie Montas had a horrendous 3rd and 4th inning where he gave up so many runs, 7 earned runs on the day in 4 innings pitched, 7 hits allowed with 2 walks and 3 Ks. Just that's not good enough by a starter. And Frankie Montas knows he's better than that. The Mets paid this guy plenty of money, and he's really not turned out so far, turned out well so far for this Mets team. So they need to really press the reset button on Montas and see what's going on with him. But he gives up 7 earned runs, and that really ended the game early in this one on Sunday afternoon. The Mets lose it 12-4, and they close out the series with a loss, and they end up losing 2 out of 3 to the Giants. They've lost 5 of their last 6, and then they head into another series. Now, they're still at home, but they take on a tough Cleveland Guardians team that's been real hot lately in the American League Central. It all started on Monday where they had a good outing by Sean Manaea into the 5th inning. But after that, when it got to the 6th inning, Sean Manaea just completely blew up. He ends up getting no decision in this game, 5 2/3, 7 hits allowed, 5 earned runs, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. Strikeout stuff really wasn't there, but he was getting a lot of ground balls, a lot of pop-ups. And then that 6th inning just got away from him. An RBI single by David Fry, another RBI single by Carlos Santana, and then he leaves a changeup way up in the zone, and Gabriel Arias ends up bombing it to center field, 440 feet, and the Mets end up trailing 5-0 in the 6th, but Pete Alonso, once again, the response, and he continues to do so as he hits his home run number 251, just 1 away from tying Darryl Strawberry for the Mets all-time home run leaders, and he ends up getting the Mets back into it with a 5-3 deficit after his 3-run bomb. He ends up hitting an RBI single in the 8th, followed by a Mark Vientos sac fly, but this one came down to opportunities. The Mets have the bases loaded in the 9th inning, and they cannot get the job done with 1 out. They had Soto up to bat. He was intentionally walked. Alonso strikes out. McNeil lines out to second base, or to shortstop, and the Mets end up giving the game away in the 10th with David Fry grounding into a fielder's choice. Brett Beatty makes the error. Just a bad move in the end. He made the right decision in my mind by going to second base. He just did not really have the proper mechanics on it and ends up throwing the ball away, charged with an error in this one, and Beatty ends up getting, or really charged with the loss, if you would say, after that really bad error. And of course, Arias ends up adding a sac fly on. Beatty tried to really get the Mets back into this one with an RBI single in the bottom of the 10th, but the Mets really had this game all but over after the Guardians took the 7-5 lead. at the end of the top of the 10th. So the Mets lose a real bad one in the end after they had plenty of chances to win the game. Just the offense did not step up in the big moment. And the Mets have now lost out of nowhere 6 of their last 7 after a 7-game win streak coming out of the All-Star break. They've lost 6 of their last 7. And it just comes down to a new thing every day. One day it's the pitching, one day it's the hitting. I think that's really the story for the Mets. They have to press the reset button as they go again tonight. It's going to be Clay Holmes on the mound. He's going up against Logan Allen, and Logan Allen comes into this game 7-9, 4.06 ERA. Holmes on the other side, 9-6, 3.45 ERA. And really, it comes down to Clay Holmes. Can he pitch past the 5th inning? And if he does pitch past the 5th inning, will he control things and get things locked down? That's really the story for Clay Holmes right now. The Mets do have a nice bullpen that they've been relying on lately, and they have a lot of arms that they can rely on out of the pen, so they're not too worried how deep Holmes goes into this one, But a 7-10 start tonight as the Guardians take on the Mets at Citi Field. But that will do it for episode 97 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast. Please subscribe below. I've been Zach Malum, and thanks for watching, and talk to you all on Thursday.